We're at a place in history where we have more opportunity than ever before in the history of the world. But what do most of us do with that? Nothing. We feel like we're not good enough. We feel like our ideas don't matter. And maybe saddest and worst of all is that what we have to contribute doesn't really even add or change much to the value of our lives. So I wanted to talk to you today about 3 ideas, 3 principles that have helped me get to a point in my life where I love everything about what I do, and share the journey and those ideas and how you can apply them to your life, to your career, to your relationships, and find meaning along the way. So yes, I'm a chef now, but in a prior life, fresh out of grad school, I got a master's in marketing and went right into consulting. I was pumped. I was ready to start the American dream, that thing we're all looking for. And soon realized that within about a year and a half that it sucked. And what's really cool about brine is it does a couple things. When you brine something overnight, however long, it sucks in the moisture, whatever meat you're brining. So at the end, after you cook it, it's going to have more moisture at the end of the cooking process. But also the salt in a brine breaks down the proteins in the tissues, so it's a lot more tender. This is a great idea and application for Thanksgiving turkeys or anything you're doing for Christmas. So I sat down one night. Have you ever had one of these Jerry Maguire moments? I locked myself in the office at the restaurant, shut off my phone, and just started writing. And 8 hours later, the sun's coming up, and I had written a letter to chefs. That was just as much for them as I think it was for myself. Describing what it meant to be a chef, to connect with what we do, to try and do something meaningful, to deal with the hardships and struggles and challenges we all face. But it was uplifting, and I was excited to share it. So I posted on medium.com, which is a blog sharing platform. And the first week or 2, it got 50 or 100 views. So I'm like, this is really good. I know somebody will enjoy it. Why isn't anybody reading this? Well, about a week later, those 50 or 100 views went to 1,000, then 3,000. And a week later, it was getting 80, then 100,000 views a day, which felt pretty awesome. And as a result, I was getting emails from all over the world, Asia, Europe, Australia. People saying, thank you so much for articulating what it meant to be a chef so I can share this with my family and the people around me. It was chefs and it was culinary students, it was instructors, retired chefs. But then there's also a certain number of these folks that email me who thought that I was, I don't know, the chef whisperer. Like I had it all figured out because I was at that point in my career. It was parents saying, would you mind emailing my son or daughter? They're at a point in their career where they need some help and some encouragement. So I did. I'm happy to. I responded to every single one of the 500 or so emails I got. But also people just asking if they should find a new job, if I could hire them, all sorts of things. People in Asia asking if I could sponsor them. And I wish I could, but unfortunately, it's a small restaurant. Anyway, long story short, I was able to connect with these people, and they were able to connect with me. And it started getting my mind going and asking the important questions. There's questions a lot of us are kind of too scared to ask. And I naturally started at a place that we're all after, which is success. What does success mean? At the end of our lives, we all have some sort of story to tell. And I think so many of us think our story has to be perfect. But that's not the goal. There's no perfect story. There's no happily ever after. The goal is to make a story worth reading. And I learned this a hard way when I was 14. My mother passed away after a 5-year bout with cancer. But along the way, she was positive. She always had a smile on her face. And she taught me a lot about not just life, but actually living. Something so many of us just goes right over our head. Her favorite quote was, "Life is 10% of what happens to you and 90% of how you react to it. We have choices every single day that determine where we're going. So how are you showing up to your life, your relationship, your community? The things that are important to you. Are you connecting with them? If you are you really committing to it and saying, this is what I stand for? And I don't know if it's going to work or not, but I'm going to give it a shot. I think if you do, if you connect to these ideas, you'll see at the end of the day, the journey is far greater than the destination. So promise me this. Show up every day looking to make the most of it. Learn from the best, seek to be the best, and once you're on your way, teach others to be the best. This life won't be easy. It'll be damn hard, but it will be worth it. And in the end, you'll live the life of which you're proud, one that's yours, and doing so, you get to make the world taste a bit better in the process. So now, go cook your ass off. Chef Chris Hill.